No Hawaiian shirt, man. What's the deal?
Hey, if it's free, it's me. I'm still waiting. I got to tell you, Shots and Shaq, I should have been here last night.
Yeah.
It reminded me of another party I wasn't invited to.
Jim Palmer was feeling a little woozy.
I heard. That wasn't Ben McDonald's first bourbon, I'll tell you that.
Ben said it tasted like another one. Ryan Mountcastle. What's the deal with Mountie?
You know, we have to get daily updates on Mountcastle, and I feel bad because Brandon Hyde's trying to avoid that. I understand he's got this group. A couple days ago, he said, hey, I'm going to give you a list of all the injury updates. That should hold you for a couple days. And the next day, we had more questions. And Mountcastle included today because we were told he'd be playing last night and tonight for Norfolk, and he was not in the lineup last night and didn't play. Asked Brandon about it today. He said, I don't know. I'm hoping he's playing tonight. It looks like he's gotten past the vertigo. The last two games, he has 3 hits. Had a ball he hit 112 off the bat. All good signs, but now we're waiting to see how many more games he's down there, and then he comes back up. You don't rush vertigo, clearly.
No.
And we haven't had a lot of examples of that in this club, so we don't really know, anything how to navigate that. But the question, of course, is when he does come back, assuming he does, he has 2 minor league options. We're assuming he's not option. How do you make room for Ryan Mountcastle? Pleasant problem. Ryan O'Hearn has been great for them, but he's 2 for 20 on this homestand. Probably not great timing to cool off a little, but you really want to judge him in a smaller sample size. He's been very good. Aaron Hicks has been outstanding, and they're still finding ways to keep him in the lineup. I don't think Jordan Westbrook's going anywhere. Some people say, well, Ryan Mountcastle, but he's so valuable for the defense,
yes.
The running, the right-hand side of the plate. So I'm not sure how they're going to do that. And that's, again, pleasant problem for them to have. But as far as we know, everything is good with Mountcastle. He started out 0 for 14 on that assignment and has been heating up. And he's making much better contact. So we think he's close, but let's check that Norfolk lineup later.
Another young man that everyone wants to know about because he came up a couple of times, and that's Kyle Stowers. What's the deal with him in that very crowded outfield?
Yeah, he played his 3rd game today in the Florida Complex League on that rehab assignment. He hasn't played for Norfolk since May 21st. He missed over a month with a right shoulder issue. We were kind of confused about, well, whatever happened to him? But, he had another hit today. He hit a home run last night or yesterday there. So, he's going to have to work his way back up to Norfolk. And we don't know when we're going to see him in the majors. But what was beneficial when he was in Sarasota rehabbing is Cedric Mullins was there too. Mullins is rehabbing the groin injury. And he took that opportunity, as he says, one of the older guys on the team now, and he used kind of air quotes when he said it, but he is one of the older at 28, right, to kind of talk to Stowers about not just recovering from the injury, but as he said, there are different paths to have success. Now, Stowers, opening day roster, didn't play much, like 4 at-bats sent down, came back up, option again, 2 for 30 with 12 strikeouts, and Mullins is like, hey, let me tell you a story that goes back to 2019, when I inherited center field from Adam Jones, didn't make it through April, and not only did Mullins not come back to the Orioles, he was demoted to Bowie at Double-A because he was struggling so much and had to work his way back, and he wasn't hitting a Triple-A, hit really well with Bowie. They were in the playoffs. He hit for the cycle to get him to the title game in the Eastern League, and then we know what the rest of the story. 2021, Silver Slugger, All-Star. Yeah, switch hitting. But it turned his career around.
Here's the difference, Roch. When Mullins was coming through, the outfield wasn't as crowded as it is right now.
Right.
Now you throw Aaron Hicks in the mix. So will Aaron Hicks play for his 3rd team this year via trade? What's the deal with this outfield?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they're hoping, again, they have that problem where Stowers is beating down the door because also, Colton Cowser is on deck, so to speak, to come up. And, of course, everybody's wondering if Heston Kjerstad's going to get that opportunity. But certainly you would think Cowser, at this point, has bypassed Stowers. So they just want to get Stowers completely healthy, back up to Triple-A, and then see what happens. But, Mullins said, don't get discouraged. He ends up being the first 30-30 guy in franchise history. And at one point, a few years ago, he was down to Double-A.
Yeah.
So he's like, it was a really good chat that they had. And I think Mullins is embracing being that veteran leader on this team now.
Now, I briefly mentioned the trade possibility, but what's going on as we approach the trade deadline after the All-Star?
Yeah, they're not sharing all their information with us, which I think is unfortunate. Try and get a few shots maybe in Michael Eyes. I don't know if he's a bourbon guy, but we think they're really going to be looking at pitching, and they would love to bring in another starter. They would rather not have a run total, but if they have to, they will. You give up less at least, but they always like team control beyond this year. But beyond that, I really think the bullpen is an area they're going to have to look at. And, Dylan Tate is getting a second opinion on his elbow next week, and we haven't been told anything else, but you usually don't seek a second one if the first one was good news.
Exactly.
I think one time I remember this club where a pitcher got good news, but I still want to get it checked by somebody else. I thought, all right, you're like a unicorn, because normally you just like, oh, it's good news, all right, that's it. So we're assuming that the news wasn't great. Michael Gibbons is going to go down to the Florida Complex League and pitch there after the break. He's on the 60-day now, so he's not back until August at the earliest. So they need to look at the bullpen. And I always go back to 2014. Remember, they couldn't fortify the rotation really, so they went and got Andrew Miller, dominant reliever. They shortened the games.
Well, you agree, though, as we get to the trade deadline, Orioles with so much talent that you don't want to really depart with. Isn't it easier and cheaper as far as what you're giving up to go at the bullpen? And I mean cheaper in terms of salary, but you give up less if you go for bullpen rather than starters. And in playoffs, shorter anyway. You shorten the game more.
Exactly. And to have a controllable starting pitcher who's like a top of the rotation guy is going to cost you in prospects for sure. And we don't know what kind of contract they're willing to take on at this stage, but definitely are you willing to part? Not Kowser, not Grayson Rodriguez, but we don't know anybody else. And is Joey Ortiz, and not Jordan Westberg, but is a Connor Norby. Those guys, everybody in baseball knows what the Orioles have in their farm system. It's no secret. So, they're going to look for a lot. This is the #1 system in baseball. So you can get a reliever cheaper than that. And as you said, especially in the postseason, assuming you get there, you really want to shorten the games, take the pressure off the rotation.
Thanks a lot, Roch.
All right, pal.
Good looking crowd behind us, isn't it?
There is.
You gotta love that.
Frozen rum drinks back here.
Roch Kubatko, School of Rock on MASNsports.com.